What's going on, people? It's your boy Kelechi back with another episode of the Ramblin' Mind podcast. How are each and every single one of y'all doing today? We're gonna try and get back to the regular topics that we discuss on this podcast, talking about personal finance, talking about business news. Not because we're trying to take away from the social issues that are going on right now, which is very important. And I'm going to keep highlighting it. I'm going to keep putting down in the description and the show notes ways that you can continue to help. But through that, one of the things that I think is just as important, or one of the things that I think not just as important, but I think that is important to ensure that we continue pushing this fight forward, is that we provide avenues and ways for people to empower themselves so that they can continue to push this thing forward. So one of the things that's important to me is I believe that donating is key. Donating is very key to continue this fight for us to ensure that this goes on into the legal atmosphere, that this affects businesses, that it just doesn't just end up being just a social issue, but it actually causes reform. Like, it's not just a Twitter thing. It's not just a social media thing that happened for a couple of weeks, but actually has a huge impact, especially because eventually everybody is going to go back to work and people are not going to spend as much time or not have as much time to protest all the time. But the main thing is for us to continue to fund those who have the ability to continue to protest, who want to keep protesting, because we can't, at the end of the day, we still need to put foods on our table. We still need to take care of our families. And so we still have to go do other things, and our focus will be elsewhere. But in order for us to continue to fight the battle, in order for us to continue to fund the fight, to ensure that this actually causes reform, it's through our donation. It's through us voting. It's through us doing those things. And I think one of the things that's important about that is me using this little platform that I have to inform everyone and to show everyone ways that you can empower yourself, especially when it comes to money. When we talk about donations, I've talked about it in the past. It's hard for somebody to donate when they ain't got nothing in their pockets, or when they don't know where their next meal is going to come from, or those kind of things. And so I think it's important that I keep empowering people to take over their financial lives and to attain the things that they want for themselves when it comes to their finances. So that's why we're going to keep pushing through. Did the wrong thing. We're going to keep pushing through, and we're going to keep ensuring that we are doing what we have to do to ensure that this fight continues. So today, what we're going to be talking about is how do I save money? Like, it's a question that we all have and we all ask all the time. How do I save money? How do I save money? How do I save money? How do I save more money? And that question can come in different forms. It can come in the form of, like, how do I save money for a car? How do I save money for a house? And then it can be even more in-depth questions of, how do I become financially free? How do I retire as soon as possible? I mean, that one has led to a whole movement called FIRE, which is financial independence and retire early movement that is going on. And there's a lot of people who are retiring by the age of 25, retiring by the age of 30 to do whatever they want. And it's this question that every single person has of, how do I get to the point where I don't have to rely on a system, or I don't have to rely on anybody else, and I can ensure that me and my family were going to be good, and I can help other people? Because, on this channel, the goal, and on this podcast, and with everything that I have going on with this thing, my goal is for people to be able to help other people, not just themselves, but to be able to help others as well. Because I believe that one of the issues that we have is nobody because I believe giving is just so important. And I believe that if we get to the point where we're able to give freely, it just frees us of a lot of mental hurdles that we have when it comes to money. But anyway, it's like, how do I do that? How do I get to that point where I can just give without really thinking about it? And one of the things is, most people think, I just need more money. I just need more money. I just need to make more money. If I can just make more money, I'll be okay. If I can just make more money, I will be fine. If somebody would just give me more money, I will be able to make it through. But I think that's the wrong mindset. I think it is a whole lot less about the amount of money that you have in your pocket or the amount of money that you have in your hand. And it's a lot more about the mentality that you have when it comes to money. It's a lot more about the way that you think about money. It's a lot more about how you envision money. And one of the things that caused me to start thinking about this was this article that I read on CNBC Make It. By the way, everybody that's listening to my voice right now, go on CNBC Make It, subscribe to that channel, because there's a lot of, it's just good. One of the things that I'm learning a lot more about is if you keep surrounding yourselves with the things that you want to achieve, you will achieve it. If you keep watching videos and watching information about how different people are able to succeed in life, or how people are able to get to the point that they need to be in life, guess what? It will push you to get there too. There's something about continuing to inundate yourself in those things that you want to become that causes you to become that thing. And so whatever it is, go on YouTube, search for different podcasts about financial freedom, about the way that you want to save money, those kind of things. It helps you a lot. It helps you a lot, I promise you. But anyway, the article that I was reading on CNBC, there was a quote in there that it was an article on lottery winners and why a lot of lottery winners go broke. And he said, lottery winners are more likely to declare bankruptcy within 3 to 5 years than the average American. What's more, studies have shown that winning the lottery does not necessarily make you happier or healthier. Evidence shows, and this is a quote from Washington Post's Jonelle Marte, evidence shows that most people who make it to the top 1% of income earners usually don't stay at the top for very long. And so the question is like, why? Like, what exactly is the reason for this? And I believe the reason is literally a mentality issue. It's because somebody who has been living life in a very specific way and has never really learned how to manage money, never really learned how to handle money, never really learned what money is, or never really learned how to ensure that the money can make more money for them, that person will not be able to manage money when it shows up, will not be able to manage a large amount of money that's just dropped in their lap. I mean, you think of athletes in the past. Why did so many athletes go broke? Because they didn't know how to manage money. Now, it's not their fault. It's not their fault, because first of all, and I think one of the things is we have to get to the point where we have to admit it's not necessarily your fault, but you also have to take responsibility for it, right? You may not have been educated about money. I mean, school systems don't teach you about this stuff. And so, but you still have to take responsibility for it over your life. I'm big on personal responsibility. I'm big on it. But at the same time, I understand that there are certain issues that cause some people to not be able to get to that point. But however, at whatever point that you are in, the key is to find a way to develop the mindset to focus on money in a different way. So, question is, okay, Kelechi, you say all this stuff. You sound so nice. I mean, it sounds good. It sounds good theoretically. But how do I do that? How do I go about the process of having a mentality that's focused on helping my money make more money? Or how do I get to the mentality of thinking about generational wealth? Or how do I get to the mentality of doing more and just being able to be better for this thing? How do I get there? How do I succeed at this thing? I don't know what I'm doing. Like, how do I get there? You say all this nice stuff, but what is practical steps that I can use? And so the first thing I'll say is you have to start and ask yourself this question. Do you know where you are with money right now? Because I think one of the things that we tend to do when it comes to money, especially, is we just tend to be like, I'm just going to go with the flow. I'll figure it out. Money comes, money goes. I'll figure this thing out. It's fine. Like, as money comes, it just goes. I'll be fine. I'll just figure this thing out and I'm just going to do it. And having a laissez-faire attitude with money is very, very dangerous. It is extremely dangerous. The reason why I say it's dangerous is because when you're traveling down the road, for example, a lot of us, we'll get it. Let's say we're going, for example, me and my family, we went out of town this weekend. We didn't set our current location to be in Nevada because guess what? The direction that it's going to give us from Nevada is going to be a wrong one. We set the location for where we were at that time. Think about it. When you bring out your Google Maps or Apple Maps, which first of all, don't use Apple Maps, Waze, or any of these other services, it asks you, what is your current location? It doesn't start you off somewhere else, because if it starts you off somewhere else, you're going to get lost. That's just the way it is. You're going to get lost. So it is so important for you to know where you are right now. And so everyone's like, so what do you mean by where I am right now? It's simple. Do you know what your expenses look like? Do you know how much money you spend in a month? Do you know how much your bills cost you every month? These are questions that are so vital to you to be able to determine how you have that mindset for having positive money growth or positive changes. Is, do you know, like if I came up to you and I said, hey man, how much you pay a month in rent? Or how much do you pay in a month in your streaming service? Or how much you spend on food in a month? I don't need around how much is that? Can you say, oh yeah, I spend this amount. I spend like $200 a month, or I spend $300 a month. Can you tell? Or is it just kind of like money comes, money goes? It is so important for you to know how you spend your money. It is vital. It is vital because if you do this thing, if you know where you are, then you can set a path. Then you can proceed further. Then you can take action on it. Then Google can tell you, okay, turn left, and you turn left at the right position, not at the wrong place. And you know what advice to take in, because not all advice is good advice all the time. Some advice needs to wait. Some advice you don't need to take in. Like when I start talking about some of the things about investing and those kind of things, and people jump into it, and then I get scared because I'm like, wait. It's not time for that yet. It's not time for that. You're not ready for that, because everything has a process. There is step-by-step processes. There's a procedure to it. And so, do you know where you are right now when it comes to your expenses, when it comes to your monthly expenses, when it comes to how much money are you bringing in, how much money is going out, how much is taxes affecting you, those kind of things. It's important to know. It's very important to know. And the easiest way, I've talked about this service a bunch of times, the easiest way is to use a budget tracking software like Mint. And a lot of people get scared once I mention budget. Oh my God, budget. And we'll talk about that in a minute. But use a service like Mint. And I'm not sponsored by Mint, but Mint, hey, if y'all want to sponsor a brother, that'll be dope. That'll be dope. I know I don't have the reach for them to even think about sponsoring me yet. But hey, in the future though, in the future. But I do use this service, and I like it because it's free. It's easy to get started. I mean, there's a few things you have to learn along the ways, but it's easy to get started. And then on top of everything, I don't have to pay for it. But just be careful. Nothing is truly free, because it will use your information to sell you. We will sell your data, and it will sell you a lot of ads. So just keep that in mind. But it's a free way to track it. And it's a good way for you to see like, oh, how much money did I spend last month? How much money have I spent this month? And I think everybody should just start off by just spend a month, see how much you spend. Just spend a month, see how much you spend. And it might just surprise you. And like I said, it's important because then you're able to tell, where are those leaky holes? Like, where are those ways that I'm losing money and money is flying away that I can't really tell? Because at the end of the day, a lot of people be like, you spend $5 here, you spend $5 there. All of a sudden, you like, for example, I remember in college, I used to spend like $10 every day on lunch. $10 every day. In the grand scheme of things, when you first look at it, it's just like, oh, that's just $10 a day. I mean, $10 5 days a week when you go to class, you know. But then you think about it, that's $50 a week. In a month, that's $200. So you're like, oh, $200, that's not that bad. But then you look at it in a year, that's $2,400. You see, it adds up fast. It adds up very fast. So what I had to do, I took my lunch. I was like a high schooler. I took my lunch with me to class every day. And people used to like, you bring it, what is that? Your lunch? You're like, what? But hey, I didn't have money like that. I didn't have money coming in like that. So it just shows you like, oh my God, like I'm spending a lot of money on this thing. Maybe I should be taking my food to work every day rather than buying food. Maybe I should delete that gym membership that I ain't going to because Rona's still around. You know? So these are some of the things you should do. This is the reason why you should know where you are. It's important to know where you are so you can find out where money is just disappearing. And then the next one, like I said, this word always scares everybody. This word scares everyone. The B word, budgeting. But it is so important for you to budget. Because one of the things is kind of like anything else. It's like a parent with their kids, right? A parent gives guardrails to their kid. A parent won't just let their child just do whatever, right? Like they'll put guardrails around their kid and be like, hey, you can only stay out this late, or you can only do this, you can only do that. Why? Because they're trying to protect their child. In the same way, a budget protects your money. A budget is there not to hold you back, not to tell you what to do, but to protect you. And the moment you start looking at a budget that way, the moment you start looking at a budget as not something that hinders you from being able to have fun, not something that hinders you from being able to buy what you want, when you want it, how you want it, but that actually helps you to keep your money and not just lose your money, where your money is just disappearing everywhere, everything changes. Everything changes. It is so vital that we do this because it will help you. I promise, if you do these two things, if you track your expenses and if you create a budget, I promise y'all, in 2 months, you'll be saving more money than you saved all of last year. I promise you. Because I did the same thing and all of a sudden I was like, I went from like, oh, I can only save like $10, $20, $50 a month to like saving about 25% of my income every month. And that increases. It's getting closer. Like, if you do this, all of a sudden, you will notice a massive, massive, massive change. And then that will affect other things. Then you'll be able to give more. Then you'll be able to support the businesses that you want to support. Then you'll be able to do a lot of the other things that you've always wanted to do. Because all of a sudden you have clarity. You have a clear mind and you can think and you can see better. So I will really, really, really encourage each and every single one of y'all to track your expenses and create a budget. It is foundational and it is key. It is very important for each and every single one of us to do this. In the next video, we'll probably break down ways that you can save money. Whoops, 1 second. Ways that you can save money for yourself. But anyways, being your boy Kelechi, God bless each and every single one of y'all. And I'm out. Peace.